What's the best goalkeeping performance you've ever seen? Perhaps Kahn in 2002 or Buffon in 2006. Perhaps Casillas in 2010. Each of them was extraordinary, each of them made history, but they all played the same role. They stayed on the line, they held whatever came their way. And then came 2014, Brazil World Cup. And a goalkeeper who redefined the game without ever saying so. One who didn't wait for something to happen, but decided what was allowed to happen. A goalkeeper who played so high up the pitch that he was more reminiscent of a defender than a classic keeper. And while the world marveled, something happened that is still difficult to comprehend today. Because Manuel Neuer didn't just do what goalkeepers do, he changed what it means to be a goalkeeper. And what looked like a one-off tournament at that time was in fact the best goalkeeping performance of all time. There have been many great goalkeepers in history of football, names that have long since become legendary. Lev Yashin, the Black Panther, the only keeper to ever win the Ballon d'Or. Gordon Banks, whose save against Pelé is still taught in slow motion today. Buffon, Casillas, Van der Sar, Kahn. All giants of their era. But if you put all the names side by side and ask who really had the greatest influence, not in headlines or trophies, but measurably on the pitch, then there is no way around one name: Manuel Neuer. There is rarely any dispute about Manuel Neuer. Whether you are a Bayern fan or not, most people agree. He is one of the best goalkeepers in history. World champion, Champions League winner, multiple World Goalkeeper of the Year. For years, he has been the face of an entire generation of goalkeepers. Everyone knows that Neuer was good, but how much better was he compared to everyone else? Because that's the problem with goalkeepers. We can hardly measure it objectively. For strikers you count goals, for playmakers assists, for defenders tackles. But what do you measure for a goalkeeper whose greatest strength may lie in preventing the opponent from shooting in the first place? Saves are impressive, but they only tell half the story. Titles are impressive, but they also depend on the team. The truth is, a goalkeeper's influence is not evident in the moments where he shines, but in all the moments when nothing happens because he's there. And that is precisely what statistics have been unable to capture until now, until someone tried. German analyst Jörg Seidel developed a method to measure precisely this influence, the so-called goal impact. Instead of counting how often a player touches the ball, goal impact measures how much a team's goal difference changes while that player is on the pitch. If the team scores more goals and concedes fewer with him, the value increases. If it performs worse without him, the algorithm shows that too. All external factors are factored out: opponent's strength, team quality, home advantage, minute of play, fatigue. What remains is a number that shows how much a player really influences his team's games. The average professional scores around 100 points. World class starts at 170. Here's a graph showing the best goalkeepers in modern football history according to their highest goal impact. At the bottom, keepers like Tim Howard and Bernd Leno. Further up, Jens Lehmann with a maximum score of 164 points. Then come Dida, Courtois and Pepe Reina. All keepers who, according to goal impact, are already considered world class. Above them, the legends: Oliver Kahn, Buffon, Cech. We are now amongst the absolute elite of the last 30 years. In the top 3, Van der Sar, Victor Valdés, and at the very top, Iker Casillas, all in the high 190s. And where's Manuel Neuer? Here, right at the top. The only goalkeeper in history with a goal impact above 200. No one else even comes close. Statistically speaking, when Neuer is on the pitch, his team's goal difference changes more than with any other keeper who has ever played football. But what does it actually mean? What does this influence look like on the pitch? If a player changes the course of entire matches, then you should be able to see that in his defensive play. After all, that's the simplest logic in football. If you have an exceptional goalkeeper in goal, your team concedes fewer goals. But as clear as it sounds, it's rare, because not every goal conceded carries the same weight. A deflected shot from 2 meters out is completely different from a desperate shot from 25 meters. And sometimes a team defends poorly but is saved. Or they defend strongly and are punished anyway. To really understand how strong a defense is, you have to count not only how many goals it concedes, but also how dangerous those chances actually were. And that's exactly what the statistic measures that has become increasingly more important in recent years. The ratio between the expected goals conceded and the actual goals conceded. In short, XGA. It shows whether a team defends better than the quality of the opponent's shots would suggest. If the value is above 100%, the team concedes fewer goals than expected. In other words, it's above average. If it is below that, it concedes more than the statistic would justify. And this is where the value of a goalkeeper really becomes apparent. Because the moment you truly understand his influence is not while he's there, but when he leaves. At Schalke, before Neuer moved to Munich, the defense was at around 117%. Schalke conceded significantly fewer goals than they should have done. After his departure, the same team drops to 95%. Almost exactly the value you would expect if a team no longer had an exceptional keeper. And at Bayern Munich, the opposite happens. Before his arrival, 101%, solid, average. After his transfer, over 140%. One of the biggest jumps ever measured when a goalkeeper is changed. This not only means that Neuer had more saves, but also that the quality of the shot changes as soon as he's in goal. Opponents shoot from worse positions, shots become more frantic, the defense stands higher because they trust him. With Neuer on the pitch, the playing field shifts forward, and that changes everything. Over the years, across all teams, Neuer's teams achieve an average defensive efficiency of around 129%, compared to around 101% for teams without him. In other words, a team with Manuel Neuer in goal defends as if it had one extra player in every position. And it was precisely this pattern that reached its absolute peak in the summer of 2014 in Brazil. In the summer of 2014, Germany won the World Cup title. And as with almost every World Cup winner, the goalkeeper also had his moment, Manuel Neuer. Winner, Golden Glove winner, 4 clean sheets, 4 goals conceded in 7 games. Solid, strong, but honestly, not superhuman. Looking at the numbers, Neuer is on par with other great World Cup winning goalkeepers. Buffon in 2006, 5 clean sheets. Casillas in 2010, 5 clean sheets, only 2 goals conceded. Barthez in 1998, also 5 clean sheets. Even Oliver Kahn, who was only runner-up in 2002, conceded fewer goals per game. On paper, Neuer's tournament was among the Golden Glove winners average. And yet, to this day, we still talk about what was perhaps the best goalkeeper World Cup of all time. So, how can that be? How can someone with average keeper statistics play a tournament that changed the entire position? The answer lies in what we measure and what we overlook, because traditional statistics only record what happens at the end of an attack. A shot, a save, a goal conceded. But what about all the moments before that? The attacks that never turned into shots. The passes he intercepted before they became dangerous. The situations in which the defense stood higher because they knew that someone was clearing up behind them. Quickly, off the top of your head, what is actually the job of a goalkeeper? Quite simply, to save balls. No modern system, no complicated philosophy, just that. And when we talk about Manuel Neuer at the 2014 World Cup, we have to ask this question. How good was he really at his actual job? In 7 games, Neuer faced 83 shots on goal, more than any other goalkeeper who played in the tournament until the final. And of those 83 attempts, he saved 79, a save rate of 95.2%. Each point here represents a goalkeeper during the 2014 World Cup. The line shows the average, the balance between chances and saves. And at the top right, outside the cluster, is Manuel Neuer. This puts him, statistically speaking, at the top of all goalkeepers in this world. Better than Courtois, better than Romero, better than Navas. But before drawing a final conclusion, there is something to consider. These were all great keepers, but not necessarily the greatest of all time. So how does Neuer measure up when compared to the true legends? Here are the last 4 goalkeepers who won the Golden Glove before him. Oliver Kahn 2002, Gianluigi Buffon 2006, Iker Casillas 2010. At first glance, all are almost equally efficient. But Buffon, Kahn, Casillas, these are names that have been the benchmark for goalkeeping for decades. And Neuer? In 2014, he joined their ranks. Same save rate, same consistency, only with more volume, more minutes, more shots. So when it comes to classic goalkeeping, saving, reacting, positioning, Neuer was not only the best in his World Cup, but on par with the greatest goalkeepers of all time. And that was before he even began to change the game. Everyone remembers Neuer's saves. The reflexes, the reactions, the big saves. But what really made him unique at this World Cup didn't happen on the line, it happened far in front of it. Because what would have been a risk for other goalkeepers was routine for Neuer. While other keepers defended their goal, Neuer defended half the pitch. Here you can see the average position heat maps of the best goalkeepers at the 2014 World Cup. Almost all of them move within a clear small area, around the 5-meter box. And then there is this one outlier, Manuel Neuer. His radius of action extends far beyond the penalty area, almost to the halfway line. Where other goalkeepers ended, the game only began for him. This is not a snapshot, it's measurable. This graph shows what percentage of the pitch each keeper actually covered. Most were between 15 and 20%. Buffon 23, Citizen 22, Howard 24. And then there is Neuer, 30%. More area than any other goalkeeper in the tournament. And by far the highest value ever measured at the World Cup. No goalkeeper was even close to being so far away from the goal, so consistently present in the open space, so active outside his actual working area. But the graphic alone does not show the full extent. There is a statistic that makes the madness tangible. Balls cleared outside the penalty area. A statistic that counts how often a keeper actively plays or clears the ball, not in the penalty area, but outside it, where the defenders should actually be. Most goalkeepers at this World Cup had 0, 1, maybe 2 such actions. Courtois 2, Citizen 2, Buffon 1, Casillas 1, Romero 1. Manuel Neuer? He's at the top here. And to be honest, that's not Neuer's bar chart. That's Manuel Neuer's game against Algeria alone. In a single game, Manuel has already the most clearances outside the penalty area. His actual bar chart from the World Cup is this one. I don't think I need to explain further that what Neuer has done in this World Cup is unique. But the fascinating thing is he didn't just destroy the game, he also built it up. Because goalkeepers aren't just there to clear the ball, they also open it up. And this is exactly where Manuel Neuer becomes completely absurd. Goalkeepers are known for opening up the game with long balls. A good clearance, a targeted pass over the first line that can make the difference between a clearance and an attack. Let's take a look at this graph. The further to the right you are, the more long passes you have played. The further up, the more passes have arrived. So ideally, you want to be at the top right, and most importantly, higher than the average shown by this line. At the 2014 World Cup, the average goalkeeper played between 80 and 120 long passes. Courtois 93, Bravo 131, Romero 146, Navas 154. Most of them completed about half of those passes, 45, 50, sometimes 55%. And then there is this one point, right at the top, right on the far right. Manuel Neuer. 187 long passes, 128 of them arrived. A success rate of 68%. That's not just the best score of the tournament, it's the best score ever achieved by a goalkeeper in a World Cup. But besides the long balls, there are of course the short ones. The security at the back. The ability to play a back pass and involve the goalkeeper as part of the build-up. Of course, not like a field player. So let's take a look at this graph here. Pass accuracy for short passes. Where do you think Manuel Neuer is? Maybe here or there? That point up there? No, he's here. Many of you may be wondering why he's far ahead, but still only in the middle. And you're probably asking yourselves, who are those points up there? They are Toni Kroos, Philipp Lahm, Javier Mascherano. Exactly. They are not goalkeepers. This is all players from the 2014 World Cup. And Manuel Neuer? He ranks among the top 30 players in the tournament. A goalkeeper. Behind him, Thomas Müller, Arjen Robben, Angel Di Maria. And this is no coincidence. Neuer does it precisely. He's more accurate than Messi, more accurate than Wesley Sneijder. And 15% more accurate than the next best goalkeeper, Jasper Cillessen. Manuel Neuer was not only the best passer among the goalkeepers, he was one of the best passers of all players in this World Cup. Top 5%. A goalkeeper who played the ball as if he were a number 10. In the end, the question remains. How do you evaluate a goalkeeper's performance that was so much more than just saves and reflexes? In 2014, Manuel Neuer was not just a goalkeeper, he was a concept. A game idea that changed football forever. While other keepers stayed in their penalty area, Neuer moved the line. Not a few meters, but the entire pitch. He was the last man and at the same time the first playmaker. He destroyed attacks before they even began. And when he had the ball, he opened up the game with the precision of a midfield strategist. Germany played in a formation that had never been seen before. A defense that stood strong because they knew there was someone behind them. Someone who cleared everything, someone who saves everything, someone who redefined the goalkeeper's role. His performance in Brazil was more than just a tournament full of save and statistics. It was a turning point, a moment when the world understood that a goalkeeper can be more than a reactive player on the line. He can be the origin, the fixed point, the reason why an entire system works. Neuer didn't just win games, he changed ideas, coaches, systems, generations. Since 2014, every top club, every national team has been looking not just for a good keeper, but for a goalkeeper who can play like Manuel Neuer. There are many great goalkeepers, Yashin, Buffon, Casillas, K. But 2014 in Brazil was more than just a title. It was the moment when football set a new standard. And that standard was called Manuel Neuer. Because Manuel Neuer not only had the best goalkeeping performance of this World Cup, he had the best goalkeeping performance of all time. Do you think Manuel Neuer is the best goalkeeper of all time? Write your opinion in the comments. If you enjoyed the video and would like to see more videos like this, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Ciao and see you next time.